Hello everyone, I'm Nick Peters of Deeper Waters Apologetics for Gaming Theologian, and I affirm the virgin birth. What is your favorite game? It's too hard to narrow down, but I think we can talk about favorite games out there, and one that has got my attention lately and I've just recently finished is a game called Stray. Stray was developed by Blue 12 Studios. It's an indie game. It even won an Indie Game of the Year award. And when some friends gave me a Christmas card to the PlayStation gift shop, it was just enough to purchase Stray. And being a cat lover, because if you know me, you know I will talk all day about my little Shiro if I get the chance. I try to get any game associated with cats. At the start, you see this cat with, some sites say it's the family of a cat. It could just be friends of a cat, but it's a bunch of cats together. And then your cat that you're controlling is the last one to make a jump from one pipe to another. But as he's jumping, it starts to break. And you see him hanging on, trying to climb up with his little paws. And he goes falling right down to the world below. Yeah, it's a gripping scene. It's so emotionally pouring. I used it in my talk that I gave at Defend on Christianity and video games to show how games have emotionally pouring narratives. So you control this cat from a third-person perspective. And at the start, it's pretty much just jumping around from place to place. But as you go further, you start seeing signs of civilization that used to be there, but you never see people. You never see human beings. And you see computers, electronic devices, and eventually you do meet some beings that are sort of robotic humanoids, which have screens for faces, and you get a robotic companion called B12 who helps you throughout your journey. And in this world that you go in, as you explore, there's two kinds of creatures you also have to avoid. Zerks, little bug-like creatures that roam all around, and if they gather a bunch of them together and get on top of you, game over, okay? And then Sitnars, who can be much more lethal, such that if they catch you in their sights, they start shooting after a bit, and you have to get away from them. But so many things cats do get caught up in this game. You want to go in a door somewhere, you can scratch on the door if you want to, and maybe someone will let you in. You find a place so you can just sleep. Or there's even a trophy you can earn for sleeping for an hour, which I did by taking my cat somewhere, putting him in sleep mode, and went off and did something else for an hour, came back, had myself a trophy. And there's a button just for the purpose of meowing. To hide from the sentinels, you can jump in a box and jump out of a box. You can rub up against people's legs. And one of the things that I've loved doing, and now it makes so much sense, is just jumping up on high ledges and knocking everything off, whether it be directly with your paws if you're given the option, or if it's just by running into it over and over. Cats do it, and I've loved doing it. But what is the theistic perspective here? Well, the thing is, science fiction, yeah, you got things like Star Wars and Star Trek, but a lot of science fiction is also really dark. As if it's meant to warn us about, here are some things you don't want to be doing. For instance, we have a lot of people talking about using AIs like chatbots, but then we've got series like the Terminator series and the Matrix series, and hey, here's some dangers that can come if you use AI that doesn't work well.
The history of science fiction is not on your side.
Unfortunately, a lot of our world today seems like people are writing this science fiction And then our scientists and others are doing this work saying, hey, that sounds like a great idea. We'll try this. Nothing can go wrong. And the interesting thing also is a lot of these universes are universes that are built on science. There are a lot of games that don't have any magical or otherworldly elements. They just have science. And it doesn't end well. And you think of your games like your Fallout or your Cyberpunk, any number of games like this. And the world is a disaster. And we see the same kind of thing in Stray, where you get indications humans lived, I think, some 7 million years ago, at least. But at least cats still survive, apparently. Hopefully if a Stray 2 comes out, we'll get some answers, but while Stray has a lovable hero, it definitely presents us with a dark world. And today we live in a world where people think, since we have science, everything's going to be great, it's going to be wonderful. But we know that isn't so. Yes, science does cure diseases, it does fly us to the moon, but it also gives us weapons of mass destruction. It also gives us viral outbreaks. It also allows us to have our identities stolen online. Any number of things. Every tool we create comes with some good and with some evil. And perhaps somewhere in the story of Stray, someone once thought, we can do this. What's the harm? And then here we are in a war millions of years later, and we see the harm somehow. And thankfully there is a cat here who is restoring things by going to the surface. Now, there is some difference in that. The cat can't act with intention, which is another interesting aspect of Stray, in that you really think about how differently a cat can think than a human. You think of Thomas Nager's essay they wrote about what it's like to be a bat. That we can't bring up. We have to control a cat, but we're essentially using a human mind. A cat on its own would not do all the things that are done in Stray, but that's also part of the fun. That's part of the suspended disbelief that you give. Cats and humans, or all animals and humans for the most part, think in very, very different ways, and Stray reminds us of that. I know plenty of times I talk to my little Shiro and like, I would love to get inside your head. And so many times when he's yelling at me, I often was tell him, Shiro, I wish I spoke kitty, but I don't. Another way, Stray is a very fun game. You can get it on PS4 and I think PS5 and on Steam. I highly recommend it. When I got my copy, I had just enough coverage. It was $25 or so. And it's one of those games that I'm even going through it a second time to find all the things that I missed. I even love a comment someone left on the trailer. Something along the lines of, yes, Elden Ring was a masterpiece in most every way, but the cat was just so fluffy. And that's what would be said of a Game Awards. So, yeah, go out and get Stray, but as you do, just remember, science doesn't give us the end all. It doesn't give us the true hope. Science in a world without theism, without moral guidelines, is deadly. We need not just good science, but we need good philosophy, good theology, guiding good science. I am Nick Peters. I am the gaming theologian, and I affirm the virgin birth. I hope you liked this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share with your friends. And I've got information on my Patreon below if you'd like to support my work there. And if there's a game you'd like me to review, let me know about it and I'll see what I can do. No guarantees. But if you don't subscribe and don't share, you might have to send a homicidal psycho jungle cat after you.